It's a rainy and generally disagreeable night, and that means it can only be time to do one thing. That's absolutely right. It's time to play with some toys. Now, some of you who are watching this video will undoubtedly know exactly what these toys are and the story behind them. For those who don't, stay tuned and you'll know almost everything there is to know about them very shortly. Back in the mid-1970s, around 1976, a group of engineers at Texas Instruments decided to produce a children's toy that would be known as the Speak and Spell. By 1978, this item was a reality, and it was really quite impressive for the time, considering that while talking toys did exist, there were none that worked quite the way this one did, with a microcontroller, a set of speech ROMs, and a voice synthesizer chip. Now, these toys were popular and they did quite well, but what really put these toys on the map was the Steven Spielberg movie E.T., and I suspect that that's how many people, especially children, came to know of and have at least the Speak and Spell device. You see, in that movie, which I'm sure many of you have seen, but for those who don't, I'll go into the plot here briefly. E.T. uses the Speak and Spell, which played a very pivotal role in the film, to not only learn some English words to speak to the people who found him, he later rewires it to speak in an alien dialect and summon his ship for help. With the Speak and Spell having been such a huge success on the market, Texas Instruments followed up with the release of at least two more devices that could reasonably be considered to be relations of the Speak and Spell device. These were known as the Speak and Read and the Speak and Math, or in some parts of the world, Speak and Maths. Now, I really don't know why the word math was pluralized in some portions of the world, only that it was. The voice synthesizer chips that are used in these devices also found homes in a few other things. Texas Instruments released a barcode-based device with which a child would be able to scan barcodes out of a picture book and hear portions of the story being read to them. There's also a musical keyboard device, a very simplified keyboard device, that would play musical notes and speak to a child who was playing with it. In a much more serious application, Chrysler used the Texas Instruments voice synthesizer chips, or very similar versions to the ones seen in these toys, as an option known as the electronic voice alert system in some of their 1980s automobiles, including the K-bodies, of which some of us are so very fond. It's probably not all that accurate to refer to the chip in these devices as a true speech synthesizer, as it has to have a sample ROM containing words and phrases. So really, if anything, it's more of a sampler. When these devices were created, a professional announcer read the various phrases and words into a computer system where they were encoded into a suitable format and then stored in the ROM chips that belonged inside these devices. Now, that means that each one of these has slightly different diction and intonation as compared to the others, depending on who did the reading. And at least in the case of the Speak and Math, it has been said by a former Texas Instruments employee that they noticed a phrase was missing from the phrase memory just before the device was to go into production. And so one of the engineers actually lent his voice to provide the missing phrase. I don't hear a whole lot of difference in the phrases uttered by the Speak and Math, but they say it's that way. Many people have no doubt also become aware of these devices through a certain community known as the circuit bending community. Circuit bending, for those unfamiliar with the concept, is basically the rewiring of an electronic device, usually a toy, that produces sounds. With it rewired, external controls are often added to produce odd, glitching effects or loops, or just plain crash the system if the modifications are not that successful. I'm not a big fan of circuit bending for two reasons, one of them logical. The logical reason is that it simply removes devices from a market that would like to play with them as they are, as there is a certain risk involved in circuit bending. You can break these devices and similar toys when you go about doing it if you don't know what you're doing or you do something incorrectly. The other reason I don't like circuit bending, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying that this is logical, defensible, or even correct. Electronic devices certainly don't feel pain or have emotions or anything like that. but it just sounds unnatural what people make these things do. And so I am no fan of circuit bending, and even though these units are a little bit battle weary, none of them have their battery covers on them, for example. As long as I have anything to say about it, these particular units will definitely not be subjected to circuit bending. For those in the peanut gallery who are wondering, the sample-based speech synthesis of these units means that it is impossible for them to say arbitrary words. And by arbitrary words, I mean it is impossible to get them to curse. I must say that I had a certain twinge of guilt typing in swear words on the Speak and Spell or Speak and Read's keyboard. I had to try it with Macintosh Pro English, so I guess I had to try it with these things. However, since these units do speak letters, it is possible to make them spell swear words if you simply have to do that. Now, the display on these is very interesting. It is a 14-segment vacuum fluorescent display. You can see that there are decimal points as well as single quote marks in there, or apostrophes, depending upon how you think of things. You can also clearly see the speaker outline. And all three toys, even though they have slightly different personalities and programming, they use pretty much the same display, although that one does not appear to have the apostrophes in it. The Speak and Math, which really doesn't have a whole lot of use for an alphanumeric display, is also equipped with one just like the other toys are. So let's go ahead and play a little bit of Speak and Spell. The Speak and Spell that you see here is an early production model with a button-style keyboard. There's nothing really wrong with the button-style keyboard, and these toys were surprisingly tough for what they contained inside of them. However, the keyboard was a weak spot in two ways. First of all, buttons could simply fall out, as you can see the Enter key clearly has. And after the button had fallen out, the only way to operate it was either to use a finger small enough to fit into the hole, or to use the blunt end of a pencil or pen. Texas Instruments responded to this by revising the keyboard and making it into a flat, almost indestructible membrane type. While these particular units, the Speak and Read and the Speak and Math, both have a fair amount of wear on their keyboards, they still function perfectly to this day. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. It'll play a little introduction tune as the display illuminates, and it starts up in the spelling game. When the spelling game shows up on the screen, you can choose a level of difficulty by pressing A, B, C, D. It's too bad this thing doesn't have the ability to free-form phrases. I could probably hire it as a pretty cheap announcer for my videos, and as we know, cheap is definitely the way things go around here. Alright, this is a much better way to do it. Let's go.
Spell yacht. Y-A-C-H-T. That is correct. Now spell question. Q-U-E-S-T-I-O-N. You are correct. Next spell surgeon. S-U-R-G-E-O-N.
Every now and again, the firmware in these things exhibits just a little bit of character by repeating the same question that you just answered. I haven't noticed it too much with the Speak and Spell, but I have definitely noticed it with the Speak and Math and the Speak and Read. You would think that the microcontroller would keep track of the questions that it has asked from the question database memory, but apparently not.
That is right. Now try sometime. You are correct. Next spell language. L-A-N-G-U-A-G-E. That is right. Now try shoulder. S-H-O-U-L-D-E-R. You are right. Try freight. F-R-E-I-G-H-T. That is correct. Now spell serious. S-E-R-I-O-U-S. You are correct. Perfect score.
Now you might be asking yourself at this point, Self, why does uxwbill want these children's toys? Well, first of all, I am a great big kid at heart. I never really grew up, and in a way I'm kind of proud of that. Secondly, ever since I was in the 3rd grade and first became aware of these devices back in the early 1990s, just as Texas Instruments was leaving the toy market, I wanted one of them. That's not to say I didn't have some nice toys as a youngster. In fact, I had another talking toy known as a talking whiz kid from VTech. These days, VTech makes cordless phones, but at one point, VTech was quite a powerhouse in computers. Everything from Apple II clones, to PC clones, to special-purpose computers for kids to play games on. Talking Whiz Kid was actually a great deal more flexible than any of these devices from Texas Instruments, as Talking Whiz Kid came with a 100-pack of base cards that you inserted into the unit, and it read them and loaded software programs from its internal ROM. These software programs were highly varied and covered things such as math, colors, reading, writing, language skills, all sorts of things. It was also possible to expand Talking Whiz Kid's memory with add-on program cartridges, and in fact I had one such cartridge as a youngster, along with around, I think, 30 or so cards for the add-on programs. As I remember, it was much more entertaining to load the add-on cards into the Talking Whiz Kid without the ROM module in place, as it said nonsensical things when you did, such as ear. It was very funny. You'd really have to hear it. And I no longer have my Talking Whiz Kid, but I may try to find another one. Which brings me to another point. These things, just like ISA video cards, sure have gotten expensive on eBay as of late. I didn't find anyone selling one of these things for much less than $20, and in the end I finally settled on a 3-pack of them for around the $55 mark, which really didn't seem too awful bad to me. These units can run additional software if you were to buy a cartridge for them back in the day. As you can see right here, the Speak and Spell has an optional cartridge, in this case noun endings, installed inside it. You'll note that you'd have to remove the batteries in order to install the cartridge. The Speak and Read over here has an empty cartridge slot to give you an idea of what it looks like. On the back, it also discusses a number of cartridges being available for grades 1, 2, and 3. It's said that if you put an inappropriate cartridge in a unit, such as a Speak and Spell cartridge, into a Speak and Read, that the incorrect cartridge will simply be ignored and the unit will not function with it. The presence of cartridges suggests that if anyone could put together a workable tool chain, they could expand these things' vocabulary, again, that's the peanut gallery, to make them say or test the user on whatever concept they desired. Now for the other units. I'll go ahead and do the Speak and Read next, and I'll turn it on. This one includes several different games, same as the Speak and Spell does. Many of them are similar in nature to the questions asked by the Speak and Spell. However, reading comprehension is more the focus of this particular unit. When you turn it on, this thing defaults to a game known as Word Zap.
Word Zap, level 1.
You can also tell that it speaks a little bit differently than the Speak and Spell does. The Word Zap game starts out simply enough. When you press go, the machine will read off a list of words and tell you which one it wants. Then you watch the display for the word to go by. When the word comes by, you hit the Word Zapper key, at which point this thing makes a comical zapping noise and tells you that you either did or did not zap the correct word. Let's give it a try.
Zap the word rats. Yes, the answer is rats. Now, zap the word jam. You're right, jam is the answer. You zap the word pink. Great, the correct word is pink. Next, zap the word dad. Wrong, dad
Oops.
is the answer. Next, zap the word something.
Some of the other games that you can play with the Speak and Read involve Word Maker, Read It, Picture Read, which requires a picture book that I don't have, Letter Stumper, and Hear It. Hear It allows you to type in a word, and the unit will pronounce it for you. However, again, this underscores the sample-based memory of the unit, as words that are not in its memory cannot be said, and in fact will produce a rather forlorn-sounding error message. Maybe I'm reading into it more than there is, but I really do think this thing sounds kind of disappointed when it can't come up with a suitable word.
Which word? C-A-T. This word is cat. Which word?
Sometimes it's a little surprising what words are not actually in this thing's memory. For example,
T-E-X-A. S.
Also note how long it takes this thing to do the lookup and confirm that it doesn't actually have the word in its memory system.
Not found. Which word?
Of course, this thing certainly can't hope to have words in its memory for which the technology had not yet been invented.
O-U-T-U-B-E. Not found. Which word? U X W B I L L. Not found.
Hey, wait a minute, I beg to differ with that. I think I'll save the worst for last, and by worst I mean the machine whose particular skill tests I would be least well prepared to answer. My math skill set is really not very good, so I don't think you'll see me playing this unit a whole lot, nor do I think you'll see me playing it on any of the more advanced levels.
Solve it. Level 1. Greater than, less than. Level 1. 5 plus 2 is greater than or less than 9 minus 4. That's right. Try 30 plus 1 is greater than or less than 30 minus 1. That's correct. Now try 10 plus 9 is greater than or less than 12 plus 5. You're right. Next try 22 is greater than or less than 12. You're correct. 16 plus 5 is greater than or less than 22. That's right. Your score is 5 right, 0 wrong.
While making this video, I actually had a crazy idea inspired by another YouTuber. Fellow YouTuber SpatsBear2 has a 1980s Chrysler automobile equipped with the EVA system. He made a rather humorous video where he compares the sound of the Speak and Spell to the Chrysler vehicle's sound. The conclusion that was reached in this video is that the Chrysler vehicle sounds better, possibly due in part to having larger speakers and a more powerful amplifier at its disposal. As you can see here, the later generation Speak and Math and Speak and Read both have headphone outputs. And so, I have decided to try something a little bit crazy. Let's see what happens if I hook the Speak and Read up to a bigger amplifier and a bigger speaker system. Everything's hooked up. Let's see what happens.
Where's that? Level 1. Where's that? Level 2. Where's that? Level 3. Zap the word backwards. Yes, the answer is backwards.
Let's get one wrong.
Now, zap the word lands. That's incorrect. The answer is lands. Can you zap the word hit? Great. The correct word is hit. Next, zap the word father. Wrong. Father is the answer.
Didn't get there fast enough.
Next, zap the word look.
interesting thing is that you can hear some kind of a beeping noise in the background, almost like there was some noise being introduced into the audio amplifier circuitry.
Add S to sleep. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters. S, L, E, E, P, S. Yes, the answer is sleep. Add S to sleep. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters.
And there is a very good example of how the firmware does not always pay attention to the last question asked, and it asks it again.
S, L, E, E, P, S. You're right. Sleep is the answer. Add S to sleep. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters.
What are the odds, folks?
S, L, E, E, P, S.
Okay, give me a different word now.
The correct word is sleep. Add S to animal. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters. A, N, I, M, A, L, S. Very good. The answer is animal. Add S to sleep. What word does it make? Say it. Press the letters. S, L, E, E, P, S. Very good. The answer is sleep.
Unbelievable. It's never done it that many times in a row before.
Score. Press go to do some more. Read it. Level 1. Read it. Level 2. Read it. Level 3. Which word? Press the letters. P, U, R, P, L, E. Yes, the answer is purple. Which word? Press the letters. D, A, D. You're right. Dad is the answer. Hear it. Which word? D, O, G. This word is dog. Which word? S, P, E, L, L. Not found. Which word? H, A, N, D. Y, C, A, M.
I just had to try it.
Not found.
Just to give you an idea of how far we've come in the time that has elapsed since the original Texas Instruments speaking toys were released, here's the speech synthesis technology that Apple included in Mac OS 10.6 Snow Leopard. Give it a listen and see what you think.
I guess it's finally time to write this page. It's only been mentioned on the features page for it's been so long since I've forgotten. Actually, I got this idea on November 22nd, 2004, or so indicates a rough draft of this page that I never finished. It's a miserable thing to come along and find out that your favorite CD has been scratched so badly that it won't play. What do you do? There have been some commercial CD repair service businesses. Some of these appear to have been short-lived. A few are still around. None are likely to be cheap. You can buy fancy-looking devices that lay claim to being able to resurrect a badly damaged CD or DVD. Trouble is, they cost a lot of money, and how do you know if they work? What can you do on a budget? You can experiment, perhaps unwisely, with household chemicals in the hope of performing a miracle. Jesus made wine from water, Steve from the Sneeze made wine from moldy socks and fruit juice, so there almost certainly has to be hope that you can resurrect a scratch disc with the right choice of household chemicals. I'll practically guarantee you that a few God-fearing folk just reached up and clicked the back button after gasping in disbelief.
Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave a comment if you have one.